Today we will be learning Yemet Hashem Daf Tzadik Zayin Umid Beis, and we will start at the end of Tzadik Zayin Umid Aleph. So, in the Mishnah it says that if the person found lots of tefillin and it's not enough, you can't just bring them in pair by wearing them. So it says he should wait for them. They should wait and it should wait till it gets dark and watch over them. But if it's a sakana and he can't wait, so it's sakana, so then he should cover them and go. And Rabbi Shimon says that he should give it to his friend and his friend to his friend till he gets to the close to the city. So we have, so it says a sakana that he can't wait over there because of the tefillin. So then he should cover them and leave. That's the Tanakh. Rabbi Shimon has a different opinion. Okay. The Gemara is going to ask a question towards the end. It says the sakana, you should carry it less than arba amas. So he carries it the less than arba amas, stops, and then he goes again less than arba amas and stops. So we have two opinions what you do in such a sakana, besides what it says in the Mishnah about Rishim. If the sakana is from goyim, who will be mevazadet tefillin. So if it's going to come mevazadet tefillin, so then he has to take them. He has to take them because if he leaves them there, then if it's a corner of goyim who will be mevazadet tefillin, so then he leaves them there and he covers. He leaves them there and he covers them. And if he will, if it's the sakana of the goyim, if it's sakana of the goyim, so then he takes them. If it's sakana of the goyim, he takes them because why? If you leave it there, so then they might uncover it and they'll be mevazadet tefillin. So therefore, it is sakana of the goyim then mevazadet tefillin. You shouldn't leave it around. You should take it with them. Pochas me'arba amas. And if it's sakana of ganovim, he's afraid because the people might it says ganovim Yiddish ganovim. Rashi says Yiddish ganovim that they might kill him for his money. So therefore, if it's Yiddish ganovim, they might kill him. So therefore, he doesn't want to wait around. Doesn't want to wait around because he's worried about Yiddish ganovim and he's in danger. So therefore, he should cover it because they won't be mevazadet tefillin. Even if they steal it, they won't be mevazadet tefillin. So therefore, you should. Right. So that's what you should do. So it depends. In the case of if he's worried about his personal danger, then he should cover it and go away. And if he's worried about that of the goyim, so then he should take them with. He should take them with it because they'll be mevazadet tefillin. If he leaves it there, they'll be mevazadet tefillin. Amle Abaye, the Maya came to Masnisin. What did you say the Mishnah is talking about? The sakanos of Avodah Zarah that what is this the sakana is that that the part, the sakana is that you're not allowed to wear tefillin. And right, so the sakana is you're not allowed to wear tefillin. So the Mishnah talk about the sakana you're not allowed to wear tefillin. So if that's the case, because it was the Xeris Hamalchus that you're not allowed to wear tefillin. So if he's not able to wear it because it's Xeris Hamalchus, you're not allowed to wear tefillin. So Ema Sefer, Reb Shimon Ema Neis Lechaveri, Lechaveri Lechaveri, Kol Shkein Da'af Milsa. So how does it the Sefer? Reb Shimon says that instead of covering it, the Mishnah says you cover it. You can't wear it to take it in because it's a sakon of the malchus that he'll be killed for wearing it. So he covers it. So, but if the people will carry it, it says so that there's for sure there's going to be the sakana because people will see there's so many people involved. So they become known that they're carrying the tefillin, and so you're putting them to danger. So the Gemara says, there's something missing in the mission. That's what he said. What we're saying that you should cover it, that is the sakana we can't wear it because you're talking about sakana of the Xeris Hamalchus. Of the sakana's listing, but if you have a sakana of the listing that they'll steal the property, that's why you can't wait around. So you can carry it pochas medal dams. So therefore, if it's a sakana of, so therefore we're adding a whole new line in the Mishnah. Adding like the Mishnah that if it's a sakana of the ganovim, so then you can carry it less than arba amas. And that is what Rabbi Shimon says. Instead of you carrying less than arba amas, you should have a chain of people who should carry it. Each one gives the other one. That means they're carrying less than arba amas. Rabbi Shimon knows the Gemara says, what's the argument? Because the Tanna Kama says that the person himself should carry it less than arba amas. Shimon Gamliel says should have a chain of people. So what's the argument? The Tanna Kama says it's better to carry less than arba amas. Carry less than arba, stop, then walk again less than arba amas. Why? The Amrit neis the Shabbos. If you're saying you have a whole bunch of people carrying it, and each one give the other, so it's you're making a person about carrying a Shabbos. The poil it's permitted, but it's like being mezalzel in the Shabbos. Avshim is the Shabbos. So it becomes mefursum like that the Shabbos that you can carry on Shabbos, and it becomes like the zilzal in Shabbos. So that's the opinion. So that's the opinion of Tanakama. That's why it says better don't get other people involved. Just do it yourself quietly. Walk and stop and walk and stop. Masov and the other says it's better to have other people involved. Why? If you say the person himself should carry less amas, zim in the lavadate, because he can make a mistake. But also the might end up carrying amas because after 4 or 5 times you get a bit dizzy and this, and then you won't be so meticulous in carrying in the arba amas. You make a mistake, you carry more than arba amas, and you'll be able to is the same thing. Also, the son also do the same thing. Give it to one person, another person, to another person. So Gemara says, "Benoi my boy Hasa." What's the son doing? Why do you have to carry his son? He's in the house. Why should he carry his son? So Gemara says, "The benasha tona b'shel dosa im besode." That means that in a case where the mother was traveling and the mother gave birth in the field, and has to take the son home. So that's why you have to use a few people to carry. Maya filahim meya. Why is the Mishnah adding even this 100? What's the Mishnah trying to say? So the afagam the kashla yoda. even though he's saying that even though it's not so easy because it's the same person. This is the opinion of Rabbi Shimon. Shimon says one person gives to another person. So even though that it's not easy for the kid to give from one hand to another, it's easier the person himself. It's easier that that the same person carries, stops, walks and stops and starts. That'll be easier for the kid and everything instead of giving for one person every time give to another person. It's the whole. So nevertheless, that is better that you should give it through a chain. If you put the emanation chavis, you can do the same thing with the chavis. You give it one person to another. So Gemara says, how can you give the and it says you give it the chavis, and even if it means going over the tchum, even outside, even over the tchum. So you can give a chavis barrel to one person to another person, even goes more than the tchum. So the Gemara says, how can Rabbi Yehuda say that you can take the chavis and go further than the tchum if you need to get into the city? Yeah, that's Rabbi Yehuda Disnan. Doesn't he hold Disnan? Doesn't he hold that the tchum applies even to the to kelim, to behema and kelim? And what's the tchum? The tchum depends on the bailim. Wherever the bailim are, that's the place where you start off the tchum for behema and kelim. The kid says, Amar Shlokish, Shem Levi, Sabo, the Hochmaskinen, B'mayra Mechavis the Chavis. That he's talking about that he's not carrying the chavis more than the tchum. He's carrying the chavis a bit, but when it comes to tchum, he's going to spill over the water from one chavis, from one barrel to another barrel. And so what's that? What's the difference? He carry the water more than tchum. So he says because this is because according to Rabbi Yehuda, he doesn't care if you carry the water. Rabbi Yehuda Tamei, it's Rabbi Yehuda that says, that mine doesn't have a mamash. Since mine doesn't have a mamash, therefore you can carry it more than the tchum. Doesn't make taking out the now that the missionary would have paid to the mayim she'ein be'em mamish. Since it's ein be'em mamish, therefore there's no problem with the tchum. So the Gemara says, "My leit halach zu." So what's it mean leit? Because the people who are arguing when they say that you can't take it outside the tchum, they use the word leit halach zu. How does the word leit halach zu fit into it? If we're talking about that the barrel is not going more than the tchum, only pouring the water, means you're pouring the water, but the barrel itself. It starts speaking about a barrel. So it's not this barrel which he's speaking about is not going only the water inside it. The Gemara says that's what he means. That's what the other shita who's arguing. They're complaining. They say, that this what is inside the barrel, not talking about the barrel itself, the stuff which is inside the barrel shouldn't go more to the right. Now the Gemara is going to ask that even Rabbi Yehuda doesn't agree with water. They carry water more than tchum. Gemara says, when the Yehuda says that you carry more water more than tchum, if the water is in a dough, if the dough has been poured and mixed in a dough, then we don't worry about the water. If the water, say the water comes from someone who he has a smaller tchum and the dough has a bigger tchum, so therefore the dough has a bigger further tchum. The water comes from somebody that's a lesser tchum. We don't worry about it. And you could go according to what the dough is, because the water ain't been mamish, because it's swallowed in the issa and the dough. But if you have the water and it's present by it's by itself, of course you can't take the water more than the cup. What's the raya? Even if a pot you put water in the pot and some other stuff. Then you put the water in the pot. So even though you have other food. Nevertheless, the water is still visible, and there it says it's not bottled. Let's say again, if even it's a pot where it is mixed with other stuff, the water is not bottled. So if the water is by itself, it's bottled. Where do we see that? So that the water in the pot is not bottled. Tiny one, the Bride says, says, water and salt, if it's in a dough, it becomes bottled. You get to tchum. The aim big big dero, you can narrate it, but not in a pot. If you put it in a pot, some food, potatoes, rice, I don't know, whatever it is. So then it's not bottled. Why? Because it's still wet. The wetness is still there. So the wetness is still there. So therefore, it's not bottled. And therefore, if the water comes from one person and the rest of the stuff there is from another person, you cannot carry it further than the guy of the water, because you can't. So the kids are. So therefore, how can you over here say you pour the water out another barrel? How is that going to help? So therefore, he disagrees with this territory given. Rabbi says, the bottle chavis the gabe mine. That's talking about that the chavis taka has a limit. The chavis taka has a limit because the chavis has the tchum because of the biling. But the water doesn't have a limit. Why? Because the water was taken, such water was taken from a river or something. So it cares. If the water didn't belong to the biling, it was taken not Erev Shabbos, but it was taken was taken out on Shabbos itself. So it was taken therefore it was taken on Shabbos itself. Then the water doesn't have a tchum because the water which is in a river so doesn't have a tchum, and it's not finished shvisa. If you're taking Erev Shabbos, then it goes according to the owner who took it to Erev Shabbos, where he is Erev Shabbos. But Shabbos ben Hashmosh is more correctly. Yeah. So the kids so we talk about Chodesh Kodesh Shvisa, Ma'ash Kodesh Shvisa. Therefore, you can pour the water out into another. So no, you don't need to pour the water out. So if if the water is the chavis is finished with, but the water was not finished with, so with even allowed to carry the barrel. Why allowed to carry the barrel? Why? Because the barrel becomes bottled to the water, and he's going to bring it right to that. The bottle of chavis the mind that the barrel brings this bottle of water. How do we know they can say that such a thing that the barrel is bottled? The barrel is bottled with water. It's not like the Mishnah. We see that if somebody is alive, so chai, if you carry a person to alive, so you're potter. Why? Because chai noises because of the principle of chai noises carry the chai, a person is potter. Now, what happens if the chai is b'mita? He's lying in the bed. Potter after mita, you potter even the bed. Why? Because shamita tfeilve. The mita is tougher because for the chai itself, chai noises atme. So therefore, you're not chai for carrying, and the bed. Because the bed is the bottle to get to the chai. Since the chai is lying on the bed is bottled to the chai. The bed is bottled to the chai. So the bed is bottled to the chai. The mela you can carry the bed as well. You're not carry. It's awesome drabanan, but you're not chai of skill for it, or not chai of chatas. Show you. You're not chai of chatas. Yeah. So we see that the container becomes bottled to the stuff which is carrying. The kli potter. Another halach is the same Mishnah. If you carry oichlin, the food is less than kashir. The keli potter, potter also in the keli. Why? Because keli toffel, like the keli is toffel to the food. So we see this concept that the keli is toffel to the. Therefore, the same thing also in the gate of the keli is bottled to the chavis is bottled to the water. The water came from a river which didn't have a tchum. Masechta Yes, Rabbi asked a question. If Rabbi says, Rabbi says, the shayara. If you're in a shayara, you're traveling, and then you're in a caravan. So in the caravan, you have to rest in the middle between cities. So in such a situation, we negate the caravan which has to rest in the middle of the cities. So if the person's in a caravan, that person to give chavis to his friend, and you can use a system of giving of one person handing to another to get the chavis across. Talking about chavis of water and so on, and you can do that. Well, you can use b'shayara, you can do that. So you can carry like that in the case of a shayara. So what do we see? A shayara. This is a caravan with chacham mekel. Shayara ein shlo b'shayara loy. It's not b'shayara. Therefore, we don't permit you to carry. Yeah. Permit you to carry less than dal damas. Right. So this heter of carrying, I think it's talking about the heter of carrying less than dal damas. No. Sorry. No, over the tchum. More than the tchum. So that's the kids. So only permitted in a shayar, in a caravan, not in a caravan. So therefore it's a kasha on Rabbi Yosef that says that Rabbi Yosef has a kasha that this heter of Rabbi Yehuda of is only is only if it's in a caravan, Elam Rabbi Yosef, therefore says, keep Nanam Basis Bashiyara. So Rabbi Yosef says, our mission is also talking about a caravan. Sure. Tanan, Omer Abaya says, so Rabbi Yosef said that our mission is talking about a caravan. And Abai says, B'shayara, it's the case of the caravan, after the Chovish, if it's a caravan, then your Mako, even the water was kind of shvisa, not the water was good water. So as Abai is arguing, he says that you don't have to say that the Mishnah is talking about the caravan. Because in a caravan that you find the Buddha's Mako only in a caravan, that's because the water was in the water was in the also had a tchum because the water was from Erev Shabbos. The water is from Erev Shabbos, so therefore the water has a tchum and the chovens have tchum, and so therefore only in a caravan you make that you can be able to carry it above the tchum. But if the water is not koine shvisa, it's water from today which is taken from the river. So if it's water from today which is taken from the river, then even not a caravan can be made. Because his bottle becomes bottles of the water. So he's really answering like the first teretz or the previous teretz of Rabbi. Chavish konsus shvisa, ma'im shaloi kon shvisa. Right. So there's if it's shaloi b'shayara, so then you can carry even if the chavis is conscious shvisa because the chavis is there from Erev Shabbos. But since the mayim loy kon shvisa, therefore you're able to carry even shaloi b'shayara. That's what our mission is about. We don't have to say this mission is on talk about shayara. Rabbi Omar, Rabbi says, "Hocho, our mission of chavis the hefker. It's talking about chavis of hefker. Well, mayim the hefker, water of hefker. So therefore, since it's hefker, so therefore there's no tchum. There's no worry of tchum. There's no worry of tchum because it's hefker and hefker doesn't have the bailim. So therefore, there's no tchum. Oman Omrloi. So who's the ones who argue in the Mishnah? You have somebody Omrloi who argues and says that you cannot carry more than tchum. So it says Rabbi Nuri. It's Rabbi ben Nuri. It says chefse hefker kind of shvisa. Even the chefse which are chefse hefker are also kind of shvisa. So even the chefse hefker, if you take them, they have if you take them, they can't take them more than tchum. The mile to halach zu yetz meragla bailim. Lo yahalcho elu yetz mekelim sheyesh lam bailim. So if it's a hefker, so nevertheless the hefker goes from where the place was, from where the item was. So the tchum is from where the item was. So therefore the wording meragla bailim doesn't really fit in because hefker depends on where the chaypitz was. So he says, so the pshat is, it shouldn't go more than regular kelim sheshlam bailim. You can't go more than tchum. Okay. Says the Mishnah, if it was reading a sefer on a skupa is it's a mokum p'tur skupa. The Gemara is going to discuss what's the askupa. The skupa is a shrabim or whatever it is. So the Gemara is going to discuss what status has the askupa. So the kids, the Hayikari b'sefer askupa is reading the sefer on askupa. Now those svarim are the olden svarim. They're all like Megillas, the old Chumoshim and all that. They're all written like a Megillah. He's reading a sefer on askupa, but his galgala sefer miyodai, and the sefer rolls out of his hand, and he's still holding it. He's still holding it, and it just fell out of his hand, and it's falling into the other rishos. So the askupa is the entrance to the house, so to speak, the entrance to the house. He's standing there by the entrance. He's standing on the askupa, and the askupa, depending on the size of the askupa, it depends whether it's shayachid or carmelis or mokin p'tur. It could be a number of things. Because he's standing on the askupa, and it rolls out of his hand. And so it says you roll it, girly asli. You roll it back, but you're still holding onto it. So if you roll it back up, right? That's on the scoop. is reading on top of the roof. When his gagla say from Yodai, says the roof is a shusayach. So and his gagla say from Yodai, and the sefer rolls out his hand. So and it's going into the shusarabim. So actually, so if it unrolls and unfolds and goes as low, but it's still higher than 10 tefachim, so you roll it back. Because 10 tefachim is a limit of the height of the Shus Rabbi. So therefore it's not reached the Shus Rabbi yet. Once it's rolled lower than the Tefachim, so that's already part of it is going to the Shus Rabbi. Since part is going to Shus Rabbi, you shouldn't roll it back. You turn it around the upside. You turn it around that the written thing should not be upwards, should not be open. That it should, the written part should not be upwards, and you leave it like that. You can't take it back in till after Shabbos. This is all Gzeira, because the emes, it's not really in the Shus Rabbi. It's not really in Shus Rabbi because he's still holding on to it. So therefore, it's the emes in the right, you'll be able to roll it back, even though it's a Shus Rabbi. The Buddha says, I feel it. The Buddha says, even if it's just a needle, the space of a needle from the floor, you can still roll it back. So all this question is negated the Gzeir Derabanan. When are the Geyser? So therefore, the Buddha says, even if it's in the Sarat Tvachim, you're still holding on to it to one end. So you're allowed to roll it back as long as it hasn't touched the floor. As long as it hasn't touched the floor. I feel about it. Even if it's actually touched the floor, Gele has to still roll it. Even since it's only Gzeir Derabanan, this is because of the Zoyin of Kisra Kodesh. So therefore, you're allowed to roll it back. So we'll stop over here.